You've been sober for a long time too, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How long have you been sober
It's
for?
about to be 2 years.
Yeah, man. Those like first few years is like the toughest to go out because it's just like you really see kind of how drunk people act.
Mm-hmm.
How stupid you look.
Yeah, and you're like,
I
what
never
am
really
I
was a
doing
going
here?
out person like that anyway, because it's like, I mean, I got to do shows and shit, so that was
Yeah.
like kind of my going out. So it's like I'd rather be getting paid to go out than
For
fucking.
sure. Waste time.
We're ready in here, so
Cool.
take it away.
Cool.
Not a damn chance. Not a damn chance.
Danny motherfucking Brown. What's up,
What
man?
What up? How you
Yeah.
doing, man?
Thanks
What
for
up,
being
man?
here.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, we when we're going over a list of who we would love to sit down with and talk about sort of their mindset and what they've done to, make it through a career that's had, its ups and downs and just a life in general that could be faced with adversity. Your name was, top of the list. I mean, we don't know each other too well, but I know a little bit about about your story, at least what you can read on the internet, and so really, we'd love to just sort of have a conversation with you, kind of hear sort of, how the fuck did you get to this level? I mean, I looked at yesterday, you've got what, over 2 million monthly listeners on fucking Spotify, like fucking killing it from having an idea as a kid. So like, I mean, would love to just sort of have a conversation about like, how did you get here?
Yeah. So, you mean in real life? Or
It could be in fantasy,
or
however.
like in video games, you got to level up your character as much. So it's kind of like the same shit. But yeah, as far as like music, I was just like, just caught. I mean, my dad was like a DJ and shit, so he used to DJ around the house and shit. But just as far as like music, I don't know. I think I took a liking to it, and my parents saw that shit. So it's all about like, I think your family and people around, so they like encourage that shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that's what was a big deal for me. Like even my school teachers and shit. But I started rapping like kindergarten. I wanna
Damn.
say. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we both have young kids now, and it's like I look back at like I was a drummer. I got my first drum set when I was 18 months old. I'm a chef now, but I got my first chef's knife when I was 3 years old. It's the things that like your parents kind of like instill in you that you like work at for a long time. It's funny you bring up leveling up in video games because that's actually something we talk about a lot.
It's kind of like the same
It
shit,
really
to
is,
be
right?
honest,
It's like you got to go out and get your experience points.
Mhm.
For sure.
And sometimes you just got to farm shit. It ain't time for you to beat
Yep.
that next dungeon. You
Nope.
got to sit around and you got to farm to level up so you can be able to tackle it. So that's kind of how it was with me in the music industry, I feel like.
Yeah. So okay, so your dad was a DJ and playing around the house. Was he playing gigs and stuff?
No, he had kids way too young, so it was just a hobby for him. My dad had me at 16.
Wow.
Oh,
So
wow.
by the time he was 21, he had 4 kids already. So
Woo.
Damn.
yeah, it was over. So yeah, I was a kid raised
Strong
by
genes.
Because my mom was only 2 years older than him, so I was a kid raised by kids.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So so what kind? How do you go from just like wanting to become a rapper, sort of like rapping at school and stuff? Like how do you take that actual first step to like getting yourself a record or getting yourself a mixtape? Like what's that first step look like?
I mean, in Detroit, it was really no music industry there.
Okay.
I mean, I would say that was like the biggest deal, but we did have like a lot of great things going, like like open mics
Mhm.
or like showcases and stuff like that. So it was a lot of talent being groomed because the level of rapping in Detroit, I think, is far crazier than a lot of it because there's so many different styles there, but it's still done at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'd even come out of there, it's like if you from Detroit, which is kind of like a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Just saying you from Detroit and you rap, they're like, all right, it got to be crazy then.
Yeah.
You got this high level of expectation. But for me, I think it was first, I was just rapping, and it was to the point I gave up on it. I want to say probably maybe after high school, because I was like, I don't live in LA, I don't live in New York, so I kind of like gave up on it. And that's when I was like doing my street stuff.
Yeah.
I think I was doing stuff just so I can have stuff to rap about. I was farming, just like a video game character. I'm like, my life is it ain't gangster enough. I got to do some gangster shit so I can come back and I have some shit to rap about. That's not actually true. It's just caught up in the environment in my friend group at the time. But yeah, and then it wasn't like they were the most like supportive about it. Especially growing up in Detroit, you might make a little demo song in your basement or something. You play it for people. They're like, this shit sucks. You'll never be able to make it. Like, you'll never be. So, you hear that enough and you're like, maybe they right, So I didn't rap. I would say I would stop rapping for like a long ass time and then end up just, finding other people that made music and start to make music. But I think it actually just changed for me. I had a homie that moved from Baltimore to Detroit. And we met each other, and that was the first time I played somebody my music, and it was like, oh, this shit is amazing. Like, you gonna get a record deal. You gonna be, so then that kind of gave me like, I'm like, oh, it's because he was somebody that wasn't from Detroit. So this is like an outside perspective coming in. He like, this shit is amazing. Like, you can be a fucking rapper. And I remember they had they used to play this contest, like on MTV. Like, you come to New York and you can be a rapper. Like, you'll get a record deal, kind of like contest. And he was like, yo, son. That's how he talk. He's from East Coast. He's like, yo, son, we gonna go to that shit, son. I'm like, we can't just go to New York. I ain't got no money. Like, I'm broke. I don't got no fucking money. Like, I'm gonna go to, he's like, we gonna get on the Greyhound, son. That shit only like $100 or something.
It's starting to sound like a movie.
Yeah, I'm like,
So
what?
sick, yeah.
Like, because I never even thought about leaving Detroit or even knew how to leave Detroit. So from him taking me on that Greyhound bus to go to that MTV event, I think we stayed at, like, he had some uncles or some cousins, some that lived in like Brooklyn. So we crashed there for like a night, and then we went to the contest. But then at the contest, it never happened because motherfuckers, it's New York. Motherfuckers started rioting and shit, stabbing each other for their North Faces and shit. Damn. So this is like early 2000s maybe. So, but then from doing that trip, that gave me like inspiration. It was like, because it was like ciphers and shit happening.
Yeah.
Like, you know how it is. You standing in a line, so some motherfuckers start rapping, other motherfuckers. And I was rapping, I was like way better than a lot of people. And these were people that was coming from everywhere. Even like we would ride on the Greyhound, it was other people like got picked up in Ohio or someplace, and everybody's like, oh yeah, we going to MTV shit. And this and that, and everybody be rapping. And I would still just see, like, oh, damn, I'm kind of way better than everybody, kind of.
Sick.
So when I got back home, it was just like, all right, I seen how to do it. So I just started making music, making the best possible music I can.
When you took that break, what kind of stuff went down?
Oh, just selling drugs.
Just trying to
Just
survive.
being
basically.
a young... hell no, just trying to buy Jordans. Motherfucker wasn't
Let's
doing
go.
shit to survive it,
Yeah.
I didn't even have that, like, I was not a good at drug dealing at all. I didn't even have that, that mental, like strength to be able to be a drug dealer. Because it's a patient game more than anything.
Yeah, just kind of selling to smoke for free or something like that? Or
Yeah, but I was selling crack, so I wasn't trying to
Okay.
smoke that
Oh,
shit.
Right.
But, but you sell a dime rock and go buy a dime bag of weed. Like, what's that?
Just switch,
Who's the crackhead now,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I didn't have that. Like, you start off small and then you save up your money, then you got more, then you save up your money.
didn't
And
have-
I didn't ever have that. I stayed at surface level of what I started out with.
Fuck
I would
yes.
just fucking buy weed, video games, and sneakers, Give my mom a couple $100 here and there,
Oh, that's dope.
But I wasn't really making money like that. I was a spot worker,
Did you get into any trouble or anything?
Yeah, all the
with that
time,
stuff?
I mean, it
Selling
was
drugs, like, you got to imagine a little bit.
yeah, all the time. I mean, one thing you got to deal with the crackheads, finessing on you.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you let one of them get over on you, then that's like a known thing. You the soft one, so then everybody's getting over on you. So you're gonna have to display some dominance with them motherfuckers to
For
let
sure.
them know that they can't play with you. And then you got motherfuckers from other hood. Once y'all shit get to going and y'all like selling a lot of shit, you're gonna have lurkers.
Yep.
They gonna come over there trying to steal custos or trying to rob y'all.
Try to come up on
or
you.
doing anything like that. So you gotta worry about that shit. But then the police.
Yep.
Now you gotta worry about the police. So the police is up on your ass all the goddamn time. So yeah, a lot of dumb shit happened. But then you as a kid, you have this like courage, but it's really dumb. It's like dumb courage because the shit I was doing back then you couldn't pay me to do now,
Yeah.
because it wasn't scared of jail. You didn't really know what jail was,
Yeah, for sure.
So you wouldn't really spend a couple nights in the precinct. But I never went to the county until I did, and once I did, I didn't leave for like a year. So
What happened with that?
I
You
just was
wanna share?
I just was catching a lot. I would get a lot of like loitering tickets
Okay.
and shit like that.
Just hanging
just
around
hanging
the
out in
block.
front of stores and shit.
Yeah.
Just doing it, and police raided, but they don't find no drugs, but they know you up there doing some bullshit, so they give you a ticket. So I would get a lot of these loitering tickets, and getting caught in raids and shit like that. And I wouldn't go to court on them. I'd just be like, fuck court, fuck that shit. I'm smoking
Yeah,
weed.
yeah.
I just wouldn't go. So I was getting a shit ton of warrants, and then I ended up getting caught up, and I got put on probation. but I didn't even go to the probation office one time. I just literally just started smoking. I would lie to my mom, be like, I'm going to probation, catch the bus somewhere, just hang around for a minute, come back, still smoking weed and shit. I would drop dirty anyway. So so I couldn't get no job or do nothing like that anyway. But from that time, when I was on that, when I was on those warrants and I couldn't like show my ID, always got to walk around like a fucking savage nomad. But from that time, I ended up, making demos and shit and, getting my songs played on like the radio in Detroit and shit. And one of my homies was like, yo, I'm going to take this shit to New York. And he took the demo to New York and ended up meeting somebody at Rockefeller Records. But this was during the time that Rockefeller was already crashing. So, but one of the A&Rs took a liking to me from hearing me on that tape. And then we reached out and got a connection. And he was like, yo, if you ever could come to New York, we can work on some shit. Damn. I learned how to do that from going on the Greyhound with BMO.
That's so
That's
dope.
those little experience points in the beginning of the game. You don't know that you need to know that for later.
Yeah. So then I would start taking trips to New York.
Did that pretty much like kind of save you in a way? Like get you out of like, all that
I mean, it let me knew that I was good enough to make it, that somebody was, so it was giving me the strength to keep on. So then I was like, fuck yeah, I'm not about to sell no more drugs. I'm done. I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
And this and that. So then I worked going back and forth to New York. And he worked at Rockefeller, but this is when it was like going away. So he was able to like get me on like we'd show up to like Cameron studio session early.
Damn,
and he wouldn't show up to late. He'd be like, yo, let my man record some shit real quick. So I was able to like develop like a lot of songs and shit and put mixtapes out from just working, going back and forth. I would go out there for like 3-4 days and make a mixtape.
Damn.
That's insane. So this is before you had to go to jail or after?
Yeah, it's before. So yeah, like I said, I gained all these relationships and I did all that, but I knew I always had these warrants. And just like any other fucking story, one day my cousin hits me up and he's like, yo, they got the hip hop summit. That's when Russell Simmons was doing those hip hop summits in downtown. He's like, yo, let's go downtown and go to the hip hop summit. We might learn something, see somebody. I'm like, I don't really feel like doing that shit, but I decided to do it. We went. It was boring as hell. They didn't teach us shit. We just sitting there like, this is stupid. Let's leave. Let's go smoke a blunt. Leave. Go to the store to get some blunts. He parked on the wrong way, and the fucking narcos pulled up.
No.
I tell him a fake name. He tell him my real name.
So
off the rip, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But because I wouldn't tell nobody that I had these warrants. Once you tell somebody you got warrants like that, then they are extra scary when y'all around and it makes shit all weird and you get caught up like that. So I didn't tell him I had a warrant. If I'd have told him that, he would have knew I gave him a fake name. But he thought I didn't have anything. He thought I was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up taking me down. I did a year.
Wow. And you were you were in the process of all this
things was happening.
Stuff. Yeah, things were like popping off.
So all this, okay, so you're a kid, you want to be a rapper, you get through high school, you're like, fuck this, maybe it's not for me. You start to get a little bit of momentum. You're now going into fucking Cameron studio, fucking, fucking laying down some tracks, and then all of a sudden, fucking life just hits pause on all your fucking plans.
Yeah.
What the fuck did that feel like?
No, it sucked, but it was like something that I knew. Like I feel like jail was the best thing that ever happened to me, because even before I went to jail, I feel like I was like real shy, because like we would go to like music shit and stuff like that. And like my homie BMO, he always tell me like, yo, if you don't talk, if you don't tell people, let people know what's up, man. Like you ain't gonna never really get into a situation. You got to start talking to people. But for jail, I didn't have that part of me. I was kind of like quiet, to be honest, and I think it had a lot to do with the fact that I had fucked up teeth. I think that would play a part in someone's self-esteem. For sure. Because there's been a lot of times where I see a cute girl or some shit and be like, yo, I can see she feeling me and shit. As soon as I say something, she be like, damn, the fuck happened to you, So that would play a part of somebody's self-esteem. So I think I was really just quiet, because I was always silly and a jokey person and shit, but you have to know me to get that out of me. Yeah. So I think I had a lot of self-esteem issues because of my teeth.
Well, you don't have bad teeth now. Did you get them fixed?
Yeah. Shit, spent like them to $30,000 in my damn teeth. But so he would always tell me like, you didn't talk. So being in jail, your ass gotta talk.
Yeah.
You don't talk, your ass you ain't gonna get no honey buns. So I started to talk. So after I got out of jail, I was a different person from going through that experience. So and then just from being in there, just writing all the fucking time, getting my shit sharp. But it was like a scary thing of like, losing all my New York connections, kind of.
Yeah.
Of that.
I mean, did you when you went in, you knew you'd be out in a year, or what? What was the?
They gave me a year.
Yeah, and so you're just sort of like sitting there, just fucking counting the days, writing.
Actually, I was having fun in that motherfucker, to be honest.
Really?
How was it in there? I'm curious.
I mean, once you like in the county, they put you on trustee. So I was on trustee and shit, and I ended up getting like one of the best jobs in there, which was like
What?
which was working in registry. That's when the inmates come to get registered. So you dealing with people that's off the street or they going to court.
Oh, okay, so you're like working a job in there.
Yeah,
Kinda,
it's
you
only
have
like a 2-man job kind of shit. So like you the person that when you go to the county, I'm the dude that pass you the sandwiches and shit like that.
So everybody loves you.
No, they hate your ass.
Oh, really?
Because they want to get extra mustards and shit.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
COs and shit tell you don't get nobody no extra shit or you're going to lose your job. So you always telling them like, yo, I can't do it. And they like, fuck you, old police ass nigga. You over here.
Fuck.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to always would get to like the biggest inmate down there to fucking like be my bodyguard and shit. So
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
do that.
And then you give him the extra mustard.
Because what happened is the people that come in off the street, they coming in with shit off the street. So they might have weed, they might got cigarettes. All the police do is throw it in the garbage. I'm the one that take the garbage out. So I would go through the garbage all the time, finding packs of cigarettes. So I got all the cigarettes. So usually the person that worked that job would sell all that shit.
Okay.
But me, I'm like, fuck that. I'm smoking all this.
That's
So I wasn't selling shit.
yeah,
You know? Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so you do a year.
Oh, so this is another part of that. So
Yeah.
while I'm in jail in a year, working registry, I'm talking to the COs all the time. I'm more friends with the COs than I am with actual inmates because we work on different times. I'm usually going to work at like 4 a.m, and I don't get off work till like maybe 4 p.m. So and then from the time I'm 4 p.m, I'm asleep.
Yeah,
So I'm not even really dealing with the inmates like that. I'm
Okay.
dealing more with the COs.
That's
and one of
dope.
the COs was a rapper. So he went on this hip hop site, where they, people submit their music and play their music. And he went on a site called Hip Hop Havoc. Well, I mean, they sift through and post the best shit. It wasn't like you can just upload anything you wanted. So he went on this site called Hip Hop Havoc, and one of my songs was on there.
Damn.
And that shit had like mad fucking plays and shit. And I'm like, what the
Crazy.
fuck? And I'm like, I told you I was a rapper. Talking to the CO.
And so now this dude likes you.
Yeah. I mean, he liked me anyway. He always knew. He kind of knew we had the same kind of similar hip hop taste. Because even that day when we did that, he had came and got me on the weekend. Was like, you want to come down and get on the internet with me on the weekends? I'm like, hell yeah, come get me. So that was
dope.
like a thing. He was looking out so I could just keep up with what was going on in music and shit like that.
Yeah.
And we seen one of my songs on there. So it was like, but what it was that my brother was on the outside. He was the one uploading my shit on these sites.
Oh,
So when
that's
I was in jail and from seeing that, and I knew, how the internet worked and shit. I was always online and shit. So I was like, oh, that's what I got to do when I get out.
Yeah.
That's what it's changing to.
Yeah.
It ain't about passing out mixtapes on the corner because it had a lot of plays. And it was a song
was
called
popping
it was
off.
called Mean Cry. It's still online and shit all around and shit. It's a good song too.
Okay. I'm gonna check that one out after this.
I love that, when I said something to the effect of like, man, you're in jail, that fucking sucks. And the first thing you say is, nah, it's one of the best things that happened to me. And that is a common thread that I notice when we sit down with people who are, absolutely crushing the fucking game. Typically the worst things that have happened to them, or the things that the outsiders would think, like, fuck, I gotta go to jail for you, that's fucking terrible. I think the mindset of being able to actually not blame the world, not fucking, be a pessimist, but to actually say, you know what, this bad thing happened, but it helped me become the man, that I am today.
Yeah.
And therefore I'm very grateful for this opportunity. So I think it's actually very, very, I mean, I think it takes a lot to actually be able to say something like that. But I think that probably speaks to a lot of how you've actually been able to find success, is to look at those things that happen and go, yeah, fuck it, I'm just going to keep going forward. And I'm actually going to, and like the video games, it's a hard fucking level.
Yeah.
But once you hate it while you're there, but once you beat that level, if you try to play it again, it's fucking easy. You know what I mean? Because you get those things.
And you acquired skills from that level.
Going through
Each level had to be done.
I think it totally rewired my personality for me to be able to maneuver through the music industry the way I have.
So speaking of, so you do your year, and by the time you get out, you got songs already on the internet. Like, were you able to just get right back in with those guys from New York?
Yeah, I did. I went out there but I was starting to change musically. Even before I went to jail, I was starting to change musically with what they were doing and just with, because they were like, mainstream music industry. Like when I first went out there, I sounded country to them.
Okay.
And I was from the Midwest. So they were
Yeah,
you should be like Nelly, more like a Nelly type rapper. They was like, your name should just be Danny. I'm like, Danny, it can't just be fucking Danny.
Danny.
Yeah, so they were so they didn't even know. And then before I went to jail, I was getting more into like the Detroit sound of shit like Jay Dilla and Black Milk and that whole shit, and listening to more like experimental hip hop like Def Chucks, and even getting more into like UK grime and Dizzy Rascal and stuff. So that was happening, like before I went to jail and shit. So I already knew I wanted to take a different path musically. So when I went out there the first couple times, I was like, yeah, it's cool, but I'm gonna do my own thing. So I went back to, and then also it would be a common theme where they would like reach out to people and be like, you ever heard of this Danny Brown guy from Detroit? And they'd be like, I ain't never heard no Danny Brown, like from other people from Detroit. So I was like, damn, I gotta kind of make a name known in my city before I can even take it out. And being from Detroit, it's a, tough scene. So once you respect it in that world, you respect it everywhere else. So I made it a mission to go back home and be like, yo, I'm gonna get cracking at the crib.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do there? You just started playing a lot of live shows.
I was just like it was like open mics and shit that was around in my area and shit. And I would just go to the open mics all the fucking time and just start rapping. And just from that started just, developing relationships with people that was, cracking in the scene and shit like that. Start doing music with other people.
With like open mics, is that more like I don't know much about it. Is it more like battling? Or
No,
is it like...
if they would have battles every blue moon. I never fucked with the battles and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was pretty much shouts out DJ House Shoes. House Shoes is like a Detroit legend. So House Shoes, you want to go where House Shoes is playing at.
Okay.
That's the cracking open mic. All
right.
So, and you put your name on the list, and based on your skill level and how known you are, they're gonna call you early in the night.
Okay.
So if you get called first, don't nobody know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but then there's also another thing too, is like House Shoes, the one that give you the beats. He's spinning the shit. So he gonna get a dope motherfuckers, the dope new shit. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know you, he gonna throw you a curveball. He gonna throw you some bullshit or some shit that he know that's hard to rap to kind of, just to test you out and shit.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I would go and I would fucking get caught early. And that's when like not too many people. That's like pretty much like a lot of the other MCs that And I would get caught early, and I would fucking bomb, just fucking bomb, because he'd throw me some crazy beats, and he would just fucking bomb. So then I just got to the point they were like every Wednesday, so every Thursday morning I get to start writing on my fucking shit, almost like some stand up comic shit, I guess.
Yeah.
So I would start writing my shit on Thursday, and I would be like, I gotta have different variations because I don't know what beat's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I write some slow shit, some faster shit, some in the middle shit, and I would just
Damn.
like have these arsenal of raps just based on whatever he can fucking throw me. And just one night I got lucky and he threw me fucking Alchemist, Hold You Down.
Just lined up perfect.
And all three raps that I had went to it kind of. So I was
sick.
able to spit like a fucking 3-minute verse. And after that I was called late every night.
Damn.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
I passed the test.
Yeah.
That's so crazy to like that you're gonna go on and you're gonna write material, so it's not all just freestyling, but you have no idea what you're gonna be rapping to.
No, yeah.
That's pretty ballsy.
That's what it is. So you got to be prepared because motherfuckers is coming with some shit. This is Detroit. This is like, every motherfuckers is coming with some shit. So you got to be able to stand out and be able to say some shit.
I feel like if I showed up to the restaurant and I had no idea what ingredients would be there, and some days you give me like fucking, gummy bears and fucking, like how am I supposed to make this good?
Mm-hmm. But like y'all said, also that was like a video. It leveled me up to be able to go through that. And then once I was able to go through that, it was just like it was all up from there.
It taught you how to like be prepared for whatever he was gonna throw at you.
Yeah.
Like, I got some slow tracks. I got medium. I got fire. What do you want?
Mm-hmm. And you would just so then just start making my name in the scene, doing more mixtapes and stuff like that. And then just online shit just was cracking off more and more. So I would be getting posted on these blogs, so all the top blogs and shit. So more and more people was reaching out.
So was there like a moment in time where you were like, this is actually like it's actually working, like this is gonna be the thing that I do?
Yeah, because I would say the luckiest thing ever happened to me was when I put out the hybrid, and I had like a release party for it, and it wasn't too many people that came, but it was one person that was there. I didn't really know his name was Josh, and he introduced himself, but he ended up being a booking manager, like a booking agent for a big company and shit, and he just signed me off rip. I didn't even have any shows. I didn't even have a record deal. I didn't have nothing, but I signed a booking agent before I had anything else.
Damn,
Wow.
That's dope.
So as soon as I fucking got my record deal, it was like I was getting shows like crazy. So I was like, oh, that's when it started to realize, like, oh, I'm actually making money from this. Like, at first, I was like, if I could just buy some weed, some shoes, I'm cool with that, But now I was like, oh, shit, I can possibly buy a house.
Damn. Fuck yes.
That's awesome. I love. There's so many people who find success doing things that they don't necessarily love, that they're not super passionate about, and he's a professional skateboarder, right? So
Yeah.
like, everything that he's done, it's like he'd be doing it even if he wasn't got paid for it.
Mhm.
Say-
No, that's the thing about it. Yeah. But I think that's what ended up happening.
but then when you can buy a house for the
Yeah.
thing you fucking love, it's pretty awesome.
yeah,
yeah.
because I'm at that phase now where I'm starting to fall back in love with it and have fun again with it. Because once it becomes your job, then it's not a hobby no more. It's not really
Yeah.
fun no more. So that a part of that had happened to me. I feel like in the past few years maybe, where I just was like, it's not. I wasn't having as much fun with it, but now I'm back having fun. So
It seems to happen. It's definitely happened to me when you get into it for the passion of the game, and then all of a sudden it becomes a business.
and
it's-
then life happens. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
Yeah,
I had to go back to like that child state and just remind myself why I do it in the first place.
yeah.
And once I realized that and figured that out again, everything's been back
You
great.
could have fun with it again.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Hell yeah. Okay, so you get to this point, right, where you get this booking agent, and now you get signed. You start getting shows. I mean, how do you get from there to where you are today? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, how do you get to having so many albums, so much success, podcasts, like the whole thing?
Yeah, I think now, the question is pretty much longevity
Yeah.
and how I was able. But I always felt like I played this middle ground. I feel like when a person goes like you see, younger artists and they go to the top too fast, and they didn't have the skill levels
Yeah.
for everything else to even be able to sustain what was going on.
You
So-
had like a slower build.
Yeah,
right?
so
it
I
was
just
like-
always played a middle ground. I feel like, but like I say, the music that I'm into wouldn't particularly be the music that is played on the radio, or wouldn't be what the average person. Because a lot of people aren't music people.
Yeah.
They just have music on when they're in the car, when they go to the gym, but it's actually people out here that's fiending for that shit. Like they study and try to look for the next shit all the time, or like it's like getting a kick out of it. It's like it's like they dopamine rush. Like
It
I
is-
know it's something new out here. I have to find it.
It is so interesting that, like, with the music I'm into as well, it's never been mainstream. And the bands or the groups or the artists who have like the most substance, the ones that have like the most diehard fans, typically aren't the biggest acts in the world, right? It tends to be the acts that don't have as much substance.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting how that is. And I think it's because there are more people out there who want to listen to music in the car, than people out there who are like passionate
That's
about.
what I say. Some people are not music people. It's some
Yeah.
people that it's just like mindlessly playing in the background, and that's
it's
that's what they want out of it.
It's like, do you immediately open up, take out the insert, and read every fucking word and memorize every fucking word?
And and it's like a pros and cons to both sides. Because I remember before when a lot of things were more based on the record stores and stuff like that, it was harder for you to find shit, But now it's somebody somewhere that like your shit, So it's not hard.
Yeah, I've been out of the music game for probably like 15 years, but I played in bands, and we I dropped out of school when I was 15, lived on the road for 4 or 5 years, and it was I definitely think that had we been playing music in today, it would have been a lot easier in terms of just getting more clicks, more listeners.
Yeah. Like I say, it's just more accessible for people to find you now. So it's just like it gives you the freedom to be more creative.
Yeah.
In that sense. Because even like I said, going back to the point of like my friends playing music for my friends, and they're like, this shit fucking sucks. So then you'll start trying to make something that your friends are like.
Yeah.
And now you're not doing something that you probably don't like. And now it's like they could just make some shit, put it online. Somebody in Germany is like, this shit's sick. So I'm happy to be able to see both sides of it. Because of course it was way more money back then when people had to fucking buy CDs and tapes and shit.
So you just kind of followed basically your gut and what you like doing.
I was just talking to Machine Girl about that too. It was just like, of course, okay, I knew I like to make weird shit and I like the weird shit, but I also still want to make shit that people like. And people be like, but you try. So you try and you try to make shit that you think people like, but that shit sucks. So you're like, this is my strong point. I know what I'm stronger at, so I'm going to do this, So I think I just stuck to my, I always didn't really have any like expectations of being like some super huge like Drake level rap star.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause I said like the music that I listen to, those artists wasn't that in that sense, So I just wanted to be able to one day be mentioned in that same list of people that I grew up listening to.
For sure.
Yeah. So I was like, that's like kind of like my goal.
And doing your own thing, it's like your own creation.
Mhm.
You're an artist, So
Yeah.
it's like, here's what I got for you. Enjoy, And like,
Yeah.
or don't enjoy, but as long as someone enjoys this, like I enjoy making it, and here it is.
Yeah. Now I've been doing it for so long. It's to the point now I just get joy out of people getting joy out of it.
For sure.
So it's like, that's like my
It's the
that's like
best
my
part.
life
Yeah.
thing now. Like I'm a vessel.
Mhm.
I'm not even that cool enough to write some of the raps that I write, So I know it's coming from somewhere else. It ain't me,
Where,
So-
where do you think it's coming from?
It's a higher power, man. That's all I can think, man.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes like with what I do, sometimes I'll come up with a dish and people be like, "Where'd that come from?" It's like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a
You
higher
just-
power.
I was just driving, all of a sudden it was just fucking there.
Mhm. Yeah, I really do think it's like a higher power type shit. Cause I don't. So I feel like it's not just to be blessed with a God given talent. I don't think it's my call to say what I can do with it.
Mhm.
So if my thing is to bring other people joy through my music, I got to do it until I can't do it no more. I can't be like, oh, I'm not having fun no more. I'm not, because music to me, man, it's my life. It's one of those things where I can have the worst fucking day in the world and I can hear one song and my whole trajectory of my day just change.
That's
So I feel like, oh shit, that's what I do for other people.
yeah.
So I can't,
Yep.
so I can't stop this shit.
Yeah, you're like doing a service.
Yeah. So now I feel like I just learned that in like the past year.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm
That's
coming with
dope.
a whole different perspective and intention on making music.
I mean, and what's so crazy about today's landscape of music versus like what I was talking about 15, 20 years ago. Like I mentioned earlier, I looked up this morning. You got over 2 million monthly listeners. I mean, how's that feel to know that you have 2 million people who actually feel better?
Yeah,
It's a lot of people.
yeah.
that-
I want to triple it next coming years.
For sure.
So
Definitely.
yeah,
You got that.
it feels great. I'm just like I said, I played the middle ground for most of my career, but I'm to the point I'm just honored and appreciative that people still want to hear the shit that I do.
For sure.
So what level do you think you're at?
Oh,
I mean, are you level 99 right now? You
I'm
level
a
like 60?
demigod right now. I'm a demigod. I'm OP now. I'm not. It's not even fun to play the game with me anymore.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's not a challenge anymore. So, but you gotta play it out for the storyline.
So I got asked, and we keep talking about video games. And I was a big video game guy. What were some of your games? What's your genre?
Growing up as a kid, or just in general.
Either.
I think as a kid, I played more so like a lot of sport games. Just coming up, I just liked all the sport games and shit.
Yeah.
And I got older. I got more into like role playing games.
Yeah.
So
Those are
now
fun.
I'm just like a JRPG nerd.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are fun.
And I love a lot of indie games. I really love indie games. So I would say more of a JRPG, indie,
What is JRPG?
Japanese.
Japanese. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do subs, not dubs.
Sick.
Yeah, I was big Zelda fan.
Yeah, of course.
And I was more into like the more of the action RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
So not like the turn based.
Yeah, more
You know.
turn based.
Yeah, like you ever play The Witcher?
Yeah, I love The Witcher.
Witcher 3 is
Mhm.
yeah. That was one of my
I never finished it because I couldn't find the elderberry or some shit.
Yeah, I stopped playing video games forever, but then during the pandemic, like beginning when we were scared about like, opening the windows back then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got back into video games and I post online like what should I play, and Witcher was one of the most recommended ones, and I played it, and I got to have played 11 hours a day for about
Yeah,
3.5
is.
weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't understand how any person who has any sort of life can actually get through
Yeah,
this game.
that's why you played it a
gets
lot when you
wild.
were kids. You
Yeah.
know? But yeah, I now for me, like I don't prioritize it. I just stay disciplined with it, and I'm like, I'm only playing this game on a plane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm only playing this game in a hotel room. I'm only playing this
Perfect
shit here.
times.
But I think what it does for you, and I've talked to quite a few people about it, is like when you grow up playing video games, you deal with failure or you deal with adversity a little bit different, right? So you're playing Prince of Persia as a kid, and you run and you jump. You're like, fuck, I jumped too early. All right, I'm gonna try it again. Oh, I jumped a little too late. Okay, fuck, I'm gonna try it again. Oh, I got to turn right a little bit faster. And I feel like people who have that upbringing are able to like look at a situation when they run into a brick wall in real life and go, oh, let me just try to make a micro adjustment, as opposed to some people who just go, fuck this, fuck life, you know,
that's
everyone's
deep.
against
And give
me,
up.
you know.
Yeah, that's deep. No, it's definitely probably some truth to that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do find out for myself, you know, if I'm playing video games all the time, every day, all day, I'm probably depressed.
Yeah.
You probably got to get outside and do
Because
something.
when shit going good for me, my ass ain't thinking about no fucking video games, you know?
Yeah, I haven't played video games in so long. I used to play Dark Souls.
Yeah. They
But
still, I mean, now it's Elden Ring, but the Souls is still going on.
I used to just, I don't think I like fully beat it neither. I
No.
was just stuck on this one boss that was just like, it was like so frustrating.
Yeah, that's why you got to be, it's just too much coordination that goes into those games
Yeah.
and shit, man. That's why I stick to turn-based RPGs. I'm an old man. I just rather just read.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing I'll ever still play really is anytime a new Zelda comes out.
Yeah.
I'll buy whatever that console is. I'll play
Just
that until
play
it's
it.
done, and then I'll
Yeah.
put it back away and go back to real life.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
sick.
can totally see that. But like I said, I still play sport. I'm fucking NBA 2K all goddamn day and
Oh,
shit.
hell
So
yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
So as you started making it in the rap game, you've dealt with some stuff, right? Like you recently went sober, right?
Mhm.
What kind of happened with that?
I just think I never really was a drinker like that.
Yeah.
So I do believe, you know, it came from touring.
Okay.
So when you on
Just-
tour, when you touring constantly, and you get caught up in a loop of where you have a fun night, had too much fun, you hung over the next day, and now you got a show that night, so you just drink a little bit to feel better. Before you know it, you're drunk on stage, and now you feel good. You did the show, you did great. Now you feel great again.
Keep
Party
going,
again.
keep
And before
going,
you know it,
yeah.
it's just an endless loop of that. And I believe just from years and years of doing that, because then I would get home off tour and I wouldn't drink.
Mm-hmm.
But more and more it started, the timelines start to blur before I know what I was drinking at home, drinking by myself, you know. Then you're doing other substances that goes perfect with drinking. You kind of have to drink to level the
For
shit
sure.
out.
Yep.
And that's how that pretty much went. And then before you know it, it just was too long. Like, damn, I've been doing this shit for almost 10 years.
Yeah, yeah.
My body feels like shit.
Yeah.
My
Mhm.
mental health is through the fucking window, like, you know. And then I think it just took COVID to happen. Because I didn't, you know, before you'll be on the road, you'll be running around, you'll be doing that shit. You know, it's different. But then when you just at home every day doing that shit,
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
hold up, this ain't right. This ain't how
Yeah.
life's supposed to be.
For sure.
So, and which sparked a lot of me moving here, you know, just try to get away from it all, you know. But yeah. But then once I got here, it got worse, kind of too. So I was drinking more here too.
Was it
There
kind
was a lot of drinking here.
was it kind of affecting, you know, like your performance and your
Everywhere,
art
it
and
affected everything. It affected everything. I'd be stupid to sit here and say it didn't, but yeah, it affected every aspect of my life at that point.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really kind of see what that stuff really does to you because you're like caught in the moment, right?
Mhm.
Like you said, you're on tour, you're having good times, you guys are traveling, you're probably in a tour bus or whatever, and you guys are just pounding them down,
Yeah.
doing whatever's around, and it's good times and it feels great, but then you don't see on the creative side that, like, you know, maybe you're not as sharp anymore, maybe you're not creating as much music as you were before.
No,
You
not at
know?
all. But you know, I'm still good at editing myself and going them. So I was still, you know, still putting my best foot forward. But it was just thankful that I have the great team that I have to be able to help me because I don't even know how I made it through a lot of those years. So
Yeah. How did you get out of it?
just really
Was
just.
just
I
yourself?
think the main thing was I just didn't know how to go about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just, as men in general, sometimes we just feel weak asking for help.
Mm-hmm.
So probably just was putting it to the side just because of my own pride kind of shit. Didn't
Mhm.
want to just bow down to somebody like, yo, I ain't got this shit figured out. I need to do something, you know. But once I did that, I just gave it all up and was like, yo, I need some help. And everybody, you know, just started looking out for me and figured it out.
That's super dope.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to have that sort of support group around you that you can, you know, feel safe enough to actually say, yo, I need a little bit of help.
Yeah. And I think it was one of those things where everybody, of course, knew it. and they was just waiting on me to be like, yo, it's time.
Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy how, like, you know, I know the two of you are sober. I still drink, but I drink way differently than I did, you know, when I was younger. But I took a year and a half off, and about a year before the pandemic started, and then the first 6 months of the pandemic, I actually sat at home and didn't have a drink, which was pretty crazy. But for me, but I started to realize you start to become so accustomed with feeling old and feeling shitty and feeling just like not super healthy that you don't realize that as soon as you cut out alcohol, it's like, wow, I feel like I'm a teenager again. You know, it's so crazy because like you think back to like how everyone's like, oh, you feel youthful. Yeah, but in your youth, you were drinking water. You were not eating at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You were maybe you were taking the Flintstone vitamins, maybe you weren't. But now as an adult, you just consume poison and you don't sleep, you know, and no shit we feel, you know, we feel the way we do.
Yeah, no, I feel great now. That's the last thing I do is miss a hangover. I'm not even tripping on it.
Fuck yeah.
So, yeah, I just, but I really, for me, it was almost like replacing the bad drug with a good drug kind of thing. Because now I just bury myself in my work. Because now it's like, I sit around and I'd be like, fuck, what did I used to do with all this time that I have? It's like, oh, used to be smoking blunts, playing video games.
Yeah.
So now it's just like, I just record all the fucking time now.
So so you were smoking blunts, playing video games, you know, as sort of like, I'll use the word, but addiction, right? I'm not saying you were addicted to it, but I mean like, you know, I'm addicted to fucking scrolling on my phone.
That wasn't
right?
the problem though. For me, it was the alcohol and the blow. The weed and video games was the safest thing I was doing.
But I guess what I'm getting at is like that's how you filled your time, right? And so how do you have a conversation with yourself and say, hey, it's time to start filling your time with something more productive?
No, I think it wasn't even about the filling the time because I still was making music. I still knew when it was, oh, you got to get to shit, you know. But I think with just smoking weed, it just makes you comfortable with being bored. You know, now without smoking weed, it's like you sitting around. I'm like, nigga, you could be making a goddamn song.
I gotta
you
be
sitting
doing
around,
something.
you wasting time. Like you ain't, you know. So before you could just be high and just be like, all right, cool, let's watch a movie. Let me eat some pizza or something, you know. Like, but now it's like, fuck that, I got to do this shit. It's like go all the fucking time now.
How long have you been off everything?
It'll be 2 years in April.
Oh, sick. Good job. Congratulations.
You planning on
man.
being done forever, or
With drinking,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
I never my intentions were never to stop smoking weed.
Yeah.
I never had those intentions, so I can't.
It's more just like the heavy
it
drugs.
was just like,
and the drinking.
I didn't. But once I got out, it was just like I was, you know, quit everything. Learned so much about everything. It was like, yo, just quit everything, you know.
For sure.
But I still don't fucking like, you know, I let people do what they want to do. I'm not like that sober person that's like, yo, this is bad, this is that. You know, people can drink around me, do whatever the fuck they want.
You make your own choices.
Yeah, I'm
right?
just not about to do that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people, like when I consciously said I want to take a year and a half off because at that point I was drinking a lot. I had a restaurant in Santa Barbara and I lived walking distance, and part of the dinner was after dinner was over, we were like, you don't have to leave. You can party with us if you want. And then we would put a giant silver platter on the table filled with any alcohol you wanted, and it was complimentary, but you had to drink with us. And so every night for about 6 months, I would drink like a gallon of beer.
Oh shit.
And one day I woke up and I thought I was having a heart attack.
Crazy.
And my brother came over to check on me, and he's like, no, you just probably have alcohol poisoning. And I was like, if this is what my body feels like from alcohol, I would like to cleanse it. So I decided I'm going to take a year off. Just that day, just done. A year off. But I knew I was going to come back, but I was going to come back in a very different way. You know, because it's easy to get, you know, before I had that restaurant where it was like, it's free to drink with the chefs. I wasn't really drinking like that. And I kind of got caught up in it because I was like, yeah, well, that's a really cool, you know, if I went to a restaurant and like the chef was like, yo, have a beer with me afterwards, I'd be like, that's fucking cool, you know?
Yeah.
Be like after your show, it's like, yo, who wants to come have a beer with me?
Yeah.
People want to do that.
Yeah. You'll have people every time.
But that's the thing
It'd be
though,
hard to
like
get away.
Like even for you to be like, yo, I'm gonna take a year off and do that shit. You know, that's people are
Control.
wired different. No,
Yeah.
it's just like some people are literally, it's like alcoholism in their fucking DNA type shit. Like
Yeah.
that was never been a thing for me. Like,
See, I've been lucky to, and I don't know if it's from, I mean, again, I talk about video games a lot as like a way to like wire you. but I've never like I've never had an issue with like being addicted. I've had an issue with like if I don't want to do it, I don't have to do it. But like in the same way where I was like, yo, I'm going to take a year off, and then I did a year off, and I was like, all right, now I'm going to come back, but I'm going to do it more responsibly. And then I'd have a night where it's like, oh, that wasn't responsible. But instead of beating myself up over, I go, that was wrong. Micro adjustment, jump a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
Okay, I can go a little bit for, oh shit, you fell off the side again. All right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've kind of, in my own way, sort of used this idea of like micro adjustment on a day to day. Every day I wake up and I go, all right, what did I do wrong yesterday? Right now, luckily as we get a little bit older, I didn't make as many mistakes yesterday, but you know.
Yeah, I feel like now like I haven't drank for like 10 years now, but like at this point, like in the beginning, I could see myself falling off super easy, but at this point, I feel like I've matured so much past that like if I wanted to have a drink, I probably could and leave it at one drink, you know? But I haven't messed with it.
It ain't even worth even testing that.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's not even a part of me anymore. You know, like that's not even my focus. I wake up and I'm already hungover from being sober usually. You know, like I don't need it.
That is a
extra.
thing, I feel like, because now it's like I have no energy.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally tired all the time now. And before I was like, how did I used to be doing it? Yeah, because you had PEDs. That's why.
Seriously.
You know, but now it's like, fuck, I'm taking yerba mates and shit all goddamn
It's like
day.
slamming them as much caffeine as possible.
I don't know what it is. I'm tired all day, but then by the time it's time for me to go to bed, I can't get to sleep. So it's the worst.
Yeah, that caffeine.
I've got
they
that.
say it
I've got that
lingers.
same problem sleeping. Sleep is tough.
Yeah.
They say caffeine lingers like 9 hours.
Oh, I definitely
after
know.
You drink
I
it.
definitely know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been cutting back on the yerbas. I try to keep it to one a day.
Like 1 p.m.'s like kind of the cutoff.
Yeah,
you know?
early, yeah. But I just need it. Like working on music and shit, you just need something to keep it
For sure.
going and shit, man. So
Yeah, how do you feel like your just your creativity has changed without any sort of influence?
yeah, that was hard. It was hard to get back into it because I all my music revolved around what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know, so I would be drinking all the time, smoking, writing and shit like that. So just to be able to do music without any substances, it was so fucking hard in the beginning because I felt like everything fucking sucked. But I feel like all I had to do was just trust the process. It's just like anything else. If you show up every day,
Yeah.
it's going to eventually
gotta get
start.
your reps in.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing. And then before I knew it, it was like it turned to something else. And I was saying, it went back to me being a kid again.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit, I used to have fun doing this. This used to be great. Like so now I'm back at that stage, so where I'm having fun. And then also I started to branch out and working out with like a lot of younger musicians. And working with them has just sparked something too, because these kids are built different. Like, we talk about like the, older music, early 90s hip hop and, early 2000s and shit like that. But if with them, that shit is always going to be goated and be like top tier shit because the limitations breeded so much creativity.
For sure.
Like the shit they was doing with drum machines and sampling machines. Motherfuckers would probably have 8 seconds of sample time and have to make some shit out of that. Now we got fucking 60 minutes of sample time. So these kids, they don't have no limitations on anything. You can be like, be in a studio and we trying to make some shit and be like, we can't do that. That's not in their fucking vocabulary.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we can't. We can. It's a way to do this shit.
It's way different than when you had to actually push the button, the tape runs back, you got to cut it. You know?
So like they know like it's endless possibilities to where you can take this music shit.
It's
Like-
almost like each decade.
Yeah, like
It
before
gets
we had a
gnarlier.
box. We knew we couldn't go this, we couldn't do that. We
Yeah.
couldn't, it was rules. With them, it's no rules. So working with them definitely opened up like another portal
That's dope.
and sparked some creativity within me. So that's been great.
That's dope. That's dope. So what do you think think's next? What's the next what's the next map you want to go play?
Well, like I said, being the fact that I'm having fun again back making music, I kind of feel like I said, I'm so honored and appreciative to be able to still be able to do it. So I kind of feel like I got a second life now.
Yeah.
Like I got a chance to do it and do it the right way this time. So I'm more focused on that, if anything. It's like, yo, you kind of got a second chance. So make this one count.
So really focusing on
Podcasting.
writing,
Yeah,
touring, that
that's
kind of
all
thing.
I've been doing, just working. I'm
New
pretty much done with the next album. I'm just still
Sick.
recording for it, just to record to the last minute. But yeah, I'm pretty much done.
Hell yeah.
So I can't wait to put that out and just get back on the road.
And when's that going to come out?
Like I say, I haven't even started mixing yet,
Okay.
so I can't put a date on it.
Very
But
cool.
the fact that I'm done with the album this quick is crazy.
What is this quick? How long was it?
It would take me 2 years before, and I started this one in June,
Wow.
and I recorded almost over 50 songs.
So when you say it would take you 2 years, it would take you 2 years from writing the first song to releasing
Yeah,
the album.
yeah.
So since June, you wrote and recorded 50 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Where are we right now? November?
Yep.
Jesus.
And I would just
that's
just now be
insane.
getting into the thick of it, kind of.
Yeah, no time for fucking hangovers.
You know?
If you're gonna do 50 songs.
Yeah. But all it was that I was recording every day.
Yeah.
So if you do a song every day for a week, that's 7 songs.
Yeah.
In a
sure.
month, it's 28 songs damn near. And I would only record 30 songs in the album and then pick out the best songs. And then if I need to add some more songs to that bulk I got, then I just do that. So I was like, damn, after a month of that, I was like, fuck, the old me would have been done with this album. It's like, no, let me keep going.
So writing that many songs, I mean, is it sort of a numbers game? Like you write 50 songs knowing that like 20 or like what's the, like, do you write them all thinking that every single one is going to be the hit, or do you write that many with the idea, like what's your approach?
No, for me, once I get a bulk of songs that I really like, I start playing with the sequence a little bit. And then from there, it lets me know what I need to add to it and the direction, the concept of what I'm talking about. It's going to start to shape itself out and start to fill itself out. And then from there, it's just like plug and play. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube, I think. Like once I add another color, it fuck up the other colors. And then I just got to keep going until the cube is perfect. So like I might have 10 songs that I really love, but then I made a new song that I think it needs for that, but then that one song fuck up 2 songs,
Yep.
and I got to cut those 2 songs. But then I got to make a song that's gonna replace those songs that go with the other song that just made the other 2 songs get cut. So it's a constant editing and going over shit and just doing that. And constantly, for me, I feel like been the most important part is just more so working is just fucking listening. I kept seeing something vibrating. It's my fucking water bottle. Now we got smart water bottles that tell you when you need to drink water.
Oh, no way.
Is that really what that thing's doing? It's saying time for a sip?
Yeah, I was like, hold up. I'm like,
I saw it lighting up there, and I was like,
I know I put my phone on airplane mode. What's vibrating? Oh yeah,
crazy.
water time.
I thought maybe it was one of those like hydrogen ones where it's like, you know, shooting chemicals into it.
No, it's been great. I've been getting all my water.
That's
I've been
so dope.
Yeah.
hydrated.
That's a big both of us. We always carry fucking big thermoses.
For sure.
I got 3 of these every morning that I fill up and take with me.
Yeah, but I would say this is one of my favorite techie
That's dope.
to come out.
I've never
Just a
seen
simple ass water bottle that fucking
that
tells
is-
you when to drink. It got the app and you can go on and be like, oh yeah, and let you know.
So you get a certain amount of
Yeah, so I want to get all my
water a
badges
day.
and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a video game.
Trying to
Now
beat that, yeah.
Now I'm playing a game of life.
yes.
How much water I can. I've been pissing all goddamn night though. My girl hates
Oh,
it because
yeah,
I've been
yeah.
waking up at like 6 in the morning. She's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
You ever try to put a little salt in your water before bed? It seems to like retain, like stay in your body better without making
Oh,
you
okay.
have to piss.
That probably makes sense.
yeah.
Didn't
Try
you also
that.
say that someone told you that when you're drinking water, you should sip it slower, not
Yeah,
chug it?
yeah.
And I've been chugging.
Yeah.
If you
I've been-
chug before bed, that shit comes out.
Because I be trying
like-
to hit my goals of
yeah,
the day.
yeah.
So I be chugging and shit.
Yeah,
so,
if you like
that sounds
slowly
right.
drink it, like
Because
little
I
sips
be
here and there.
I be making like 100% at like 8 p.m. and I be like, oh yeah.
You're like,
What is your goal? What does it have? How many ounces?
I mean, it calculates it for you. You
Like
do
your
your
body
weight.
weight kinda?
Yeah, you do
Yeah.
your weight and all that shit, your age and all that shit, and then it tell you every day how many ounces you need.
What is? Do you know what yours is offhand or?
Oh no, I don't.
'Cause
I mean,
I'm-
it goes up and down all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. I
And
should
then
get
based
this
on
app.
other shit you drink, like because it tells you to log all the other shit. So if you drink
Okay.
coffee or something, it'll take your hydration levels down and be like, okay, you need this much more water.
Yeah,
If you do a sauna, it'll tell you do that.
Yeah,
or-
it follows all
That's
the
pretty
shit.
dope.
What's this app called?
I don't know what this. They didn't sponsor me.
Well, I'm gonna have to whatever it is. We'll
But
talk
I'm pretty sure if you
afterwards.
Googled smart water bottle,
Yeah.
it'll
Because I'm like semi obsessed with drinking water. I got this, this hydrogen thing. I got like a reverse osmosis that then goes into a hydrogen thing, and I fill up, every day I get 75 ounces plus the 20 ounces I have in the morning with the athletic greens, and I'm obsessed with drinking a certain amount of water, but also I don't know if I'm drinking too much or too little, because everything you read on the internet is like, it's always different on
I
like
definitely
what's the
feel like I've
proper
been
amount.
drinking too much water.
Yeah.
I've been fucking like pissing like crazy.
Yeah.
So.
I try to do like my body weight usually.
In ounces?
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit over a gallon.
170 ounces?
Usually. Yeah, it's a little bit over a gallon.
I thought you're supposed to do a half an ounce per pound.
I think it depends on like how active you are, and I'm like skating and working out and all this stuff, so I'm always sweating.
So you're doing like close to 200 ounces a day in water?
Yeah, like a little bit, like a
That's insane.
like a gallon and a half or so.
So the salt trick must work.
yeah. I've definitely have done my share of like waking up in the middle of the night taking pisses.
No,
so
I
figured it out.
I went like 4 times last night. So.
Oh yeah, tried it. You could either add like some electrolytes, like one of those powders.
Yeah, I drink I drink a coconut water as soon as I wake up.
Okay.
So that's like I get my electrolytes like
But
that.
I'm saying before bed, if you don't want to piss at night, you could try to add some electrolytes in there or a little bit of salt. And sometimes
I'm gonna
that
try the
helps
salt.
retain.
I'm gonna try this because that seems about right.
Yeah, man.
I've also read that 2 hours before bed, you should stop drinking anything. No liquid 2 hours before bed, no food 3 hours, and no screen
sounds
time.
pretty-
No,
1 hour.
I can see that.
It's like a 3-2-1 thing I saw.
I wanted to ask if you could tell your younger self something about, kind of the abuse of drugs and alcohol, what would it be?
Or about it? What you mean?
Like
Or
how to approach it, how to, kind of go about it.
I mean, I guess
would
it would
say.
just be anything. Like, I mean, you see all the signs. It's nothing like, it's just like, it's the same story. It always ends the same. It's undefeated. Like, you're going against an undefeated boss. Like,
For sure,
you're not going to
yeah.
beat this. Like, I guess that was the only thing, because it's fun till it's not fun,
Yeah.
So you don't
But I
wanna,
mean, you did beat it. Like,
you wanna
quite
make it to
literally,
that
you
level.
beat it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I mean,
but
you got out.
I think it's also too, like I say, shit is like DNA shit. Like my whole family's been addicts or alcoholics, or, we lost so many my family from that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was just in me, trauma. And I feel like, a lot of people just got to realize what they doing it for, because I didn't know, I didn't know. And when you realize like, oh, it is fun, but it's a reason why you take to it more than others. And that's something that's some underlying trauma. You're trying to escape something. It's voices in your head you're trying to quiet kind of shit. And once I realized what was the underlying issue for me, it was able for me to get over that shit. And then I didn't need that shit no more,
So magic lamp on the table.
I like that.
What do you want out of life? What do you want next?
Me personally, I'm at that point. I just want to be able to, once I'm gone, to still be like, to have like a good name for myself more than anything. Where people are like, "Yo, he did." So right now, I'm doing shit for my
So
legacy.
legacy. Yeah.
I'm doing
Let's
shit
go.
for my legacy.
Hell yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because it's a lot of times, like especially with music, you find some band or something from like the 70s or whatever time period, and you be like, and you do your homework on it, and you listening to that shit, and you're like, this shit wasn't crazy. Like this is, and it was like, no, they didn't sell records. They were like, there was some underground shit, and you listen to it now, and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. So just to be able to be gone, and 100 years later, some kids are discovering my shit on some, probably listening to it on a hologram or something, by then, and they could see it or whatever.
All they gotta do is think about the name of
But
the
if-
song,
but
and
if-
it's gonna play in their head.
But if something like that's happening, even though I wouldn't be around to see it, but if something like that's happening where somebody in the future is listening to my old shit and they getting inspired to do something new from my old shit, that's my goal in life would be living, to keep that music shit going.
That's
Or
so
for
dope.
some kid from the hood that's probably like, damn, this motherfucker was doing like experimental hip hop shit back then, and having to feel weird because he's not making shit that his friends don't like, and they could see somebody like me and be like, yo, I like Danny. I'm doing it how Danny did it, So if I can
Fuck
just
yeah.
keep that tradition going, I'm happy with that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
man.
Well, Danny Brown, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you guys for
Yeah,
having
thank
me.
you,
Yeah,
man.
this was such a
This
fun
is awesome.
conversation.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude. Thank you. Keep on doing it.
Thank you, likewise.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Hit subscribe now if you want to follow along. We have some awesome guests lined up that we sit down with. Make sure you follow the Not a Damn Chance podcast on socials at NADC Podcast. We'll see you next week.